The moment I can't, I'm not helping you anymore. And I'm not being the person I tell my kids I am.
The greatest value I have is not in the money in the bank, but my daily energy.
You realize everybody went through the darkness. Nobody does this business and doesn't go through their own version of it. You can't always just be burning your energy. That's not what champions do.
My experience of confidence is being the human being I'm proud of to be, day after day after day. Then I'm confident about myself.
I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter.
Hey you, this is Christina Suter with Real Estate Breakthrough, and Micah and I were already talking. I asked him the question that I love the most, which is, tell us a story about something, a deal that didn't go right and what you learned from it. And he just immediately just skated right into the answer that I think is so important for us. Investing in real estate is not a sprint. It is a marathon. It has to do with the life you want to live and then the money you want to generate. So let's just go right back to that question, Micah, because I thought that was so well said, which is, tell me about a deal that went wrong or right and how it grew you as a human being. So go for it.
Absolutely. So I put a deal under contract in Texas it was really good. It was two parts. It was it's like a $1.2 million home, but it was on 30 acres. So we were splitting it. Like, it was highly lucrative and in its early phases. And we were working it, and it all fell apart in the end. And it got me thinking. I'd been in real estate now for 14 years. I've sold a lot of houses. I've been through the process a lot of times. And I just started thinking about, okay, man, what do you want in your daily life? What do you want to wake up and do each day? Are you enjoying what you wake up and do each day? Is it actually getting you where you want to go? Where the heck are you even trying to go, man? Like, really taking a moment in that time, because I've been working with coaches and things for quite some time now and have just learned to adjust along the way. And I got to that point where I realized what I was doing on a daily basis, I wasn't into it anymore. And for me, I have to actually care, because as someone who has specialized in sales for a long time, you can get people to do something they don't want to do if you're really good at it. You can use some pretty strong techniques. And my whole thing was, I actually care. I don't mind presenting something if I actually care about it. The moment I can't, I'm not helping you anymore. And I'm not being the person I tell my kids I am. So that sent me into okay, what's life about then? What do you want to do? And that's where I got really focused on my daily life. I want to be happy today. I'm not trying to get anywhere anymore. And I started thinking, okay, what do I need to do right now that I enjoy, I believe in, I can wake up each day, not worry about what's on my calendar, and just dive into it. And then how can I do that long enough to create this future I want? And that's what I've really been focused on lately, is just the day-to-day living of it all.
And I think we're going to do this whole recording backwards, because I think it really, again, you started with the end goal in mind, because the process for me in this podcast is really for people to understand, what does it mean to not just invest in real estate, but cultivate the human being you are, your sense of passion and purpose, so that real estate is the vehicle that lets you fulfill the passion and purpose. And Micah and I did a recording on his podcast earlier, and we very quickly were like, hey, I think the same way. Hey, I think the same thing. We were very quickly like, oh yeah, that we aligned on that concept. And I was immediately no, you got to be on my podcast too. Because as you can hear in his words, that he took that moment, the moment of failure, and said, who do I want to be? What's the life I want to craft? Because the greatest value I have is not in the money in the bank, but my daily energy, day by day, month by month, maybe even minute by minute, that is fulfilling and on purpose, because this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And this is a life you want to, for me at least, I want to be able to live it every day and say, yes, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to show up in the world. And then you created, out of that contemplation, you created what you do now, which is real estate based, but it's also community based. And that's the real gift of what you've created. So tell people what you created.
I work with, I can't take credit for creating it. The creator behind it, his name's Mike Hambright, extremely smart, incredible guy, been in real estate a long time. And when I was in that space, I was thinking to myself, okay, do you want to crank up another business? Is that what you want to do? Is this what you're trying to do? Do you want to join, who do you know that you could use your time intentionally to work with? Like, what are you passionate about? What part really lights you up? And a couple of years ago, I got to be a part of my first mastermind, where it was a room full of high level people. It was a real estate specific one. And I was blown away. I was like, whoa. Because not only were they high performing folks, they were humble. They were willing to talk to you. So it was just this cultivated environment where holy cow, this is what the pros are. This is what they're doing. And now most of my best friends are from that event, because it was, holy cow, it really touched me at the place in life that I was at. Because I realized I like to work from home. I'd like to be at home. I grew up in a way where I was surrounded by woods my whole life. So like being home, I just wandered around. I go on walks each day around my neighborhood. So I like to be at home. And, working from home, it was why I got into real estate originally. Actually, I was working in the medical field, and I didn't get to see my daughter for almost the whole first year of her life. And I was like, okay, nope, not doing that. I really want to be around for my kids. And I had this dream. I want to build an office in my backyard where I have just steps to work. And now I have an 18-step commute and an office in my backyard. Like, it's my favorite thing. I just come back here and get to talk. And I say all that because without these groups, and why I went and joined forces with Mike, was I see something that I believe in. I actually cared again. Like, my heart lit up. Okay, I know how important community is. I know how important connecting with people are. And I love real estate. It's the only thing I've done for this long in my whole life. I have ADHD. So I have bounced around trying all kinds of stuff. And real estate was a big enough umbrella where I could move around inside of it and really find that place that just like lit me up. So that's where I work now, is with this group called Investor Fuel, where we work with all kinds of investors. But if you're a single family residential investor that's building that type of business, that's really our sweet spot. Because as you build it, when you're in the 2 to 10 deal a year phase, there's very specific tools you need. When you're in the 10 to 50 phase, they switch. 50 to 100, they switch. 100 and up, they switch. And so getting in a room with folks where we make sure you have every tool you need for each section of the journey, along with the community you need to answer the questions, to be there. That's it. I can care about that. Like, I can do that. And then it's part of investing in real estate. Benefit of joining forces, I get to learn all this stuff too. I like learning about real estate and being around it. And land is the particular thing I really enjoy when it comes to investing. So I grew up farming country. Pine trees is a big deal where I was from. And I was like, okay, I like that. And now in life, that's what I'm looking up is, okay, I want to own large tracts of land that I can either rent to farmers, put pine trees on, hunt them myself if I want to, but really designed around that. For me now, it's community driven, creating this place for other people to come be successful too. Like, real estate changed my life. And I love being a part of things that now give back from that.
Yeah. So Elevate Investor Fuel, I've got it right here, and I'm going to show it to you guys for those of you who are watching this on YouTube or Amazon TV or Roku TV. Let me show this to you, because I think it's important to understand that this is a mastermind that's been carefully created and wants to specifically, like you said, support its community. And I want to share this one right here. And this is the gentleman you're talking about, right?
Yep. That's Mike. That's the creator of it. He owns multiple real estate businesses. Like, it is someone who knows. They've done it. They've walked the road. And he started building this room a little over 8 years ago to now, where, like you said, and the part I specifically do with them, I'm the gatekeeper. I care about the room, and you keep a room valuable by vibe checking people. Honestly, it's making sure, are you a good fit for this? Now, I've also been a part of other groups, so I have a unique ability to say, hey, I might not be the right one, but I can tell you who you should talk to if this is what you need to do. But that's that big part, is it's a heavily vetted room to make sure you're in the right place with the right people. Then all the benefits you get from it, you can get 100% financing. There are people that pay for their whole membership simply from the rebate they get from Home Depot for how much fixing and flipping they do and the deal we get with them. So and then lastly, you get to travel 4 times a year. And in the upper levels, you get some extra trips where you're with your people. You're just with your people, hanging out, building real community. Because that's what I realized I lost in life, was the higher I went, the less people I could relate to, the less people that liked talking about the stuff I like talking about, right? Like it's folks like us. But I'll talk about random stuff, but I want to talk about stuff. I want to talk about deep things, whether they're personal or business or anything, like the real nitty gritty behind it all. That's what interests me. And yeah, I care most about how to be human. That's how do you get good at it, right? And these rooms help me like crazy.
They do, and it's funny because you just touched on something. Like I belong to a couple different masterminds, and I want to talk about two topics, which is what's the deep value of masterminds, because I don't think you know what it is until you belong to one, and then you're like, oh, that's what that is. Right? And two, what's the difference between being in a room full of people who are brand new? If you're brand new and you're in a room full of people who are brand new with leaders, people who have a lot more experience, it gives you they're the way showers, right? They give you the path of how I'm going to get there. This is what it looks like. They teach, they give you workshops, they upgrade your skills, which is great. But when you're in a room full of people who have reached some level of expertise, maybe in a parallel piece of real estate, now this is my take on it. All of a sudden, there's no longer this sort of idyllic projection thing going on. Like, oh, you must be so good at this because you've got 50 doors. And it's like, no, I've got 50 doors of this and you've got 50 doors of storage. And now we're having a cross conversation, human to human, not idealized person to a regular person, human to human. My husband, my wife, my children, my balance of life, I've got 3 million in the bank and I'm doing this with that or that with that. Oh yeah, I've got 4 million, I'm doing this with it, I'm doing that, whatever. Or I've got 100,000 or 200,000. It's more of this across conversation about what it means to actually run the marathon. What does it mean to get exhausted? What does it mean to not have enough water? What does it mean? And now you're not, it's a space where I have much more vulnerability as a leader, because I'm talking to other people who are regional leaders like I am, right? And we're just admitting what we're good at, what we're not good at, and you're getting authentic and honest, straightforward advice on, well, gee, I started with, if you're talking to the storage person, you want to go into storage, well, I started with that kind of storage, but maybe this kind of storage is better, and if you want to and you just have this authentic coaching conversation with each other, and there's not one up and one down. It's I do know how to do real estate, you know how to do real estate, and there's this authenticity and vulnerability that I find just relieving, literally relieving.
It is, because you get on an island is what you start to realize. Like you feel alone. You start to feel like you can't tell. It's if you have a spouse and they're not into what you do, there's nothing you can really share that's gonna, like, they have nothing to say, and like it's not going to be that helpful. And then if you have employees, man, it's hard to go down, right? And partners, even sometimes you feel it then, but it's getting into those rooms, like you're saying, where you're with somebody who's done it. And you realize everybody went through the darkness. Nobody does this business and doesn't go through their own version of it. And you can see, right, versus the produced one, the one you see in feeds and things like that. And you see the guy or girl behind it and the real human being, who they really are, in a space where, like you said, it's all leaders. It's all people that are heavily qualified to be there. We only let you bring your business partner or your spouse. You get 2 tickets, but that's who's coming, so that we can create a very intentional environment that lets you be vulnerable. Because if you don't, you can't, right? There's some events you go to, it's the show. Everybody's peacocking, and it's just that kind of event. Like, it's what you're doing. And it's okay, that's fine. I don't like to spend most of my time at those. I want to be in a room where just a placement now. Give it to me straight. I don't need the fluff. I'm a professional salesperson. I've been sold to my whole life. Like, give me the real deal. Who is it behind it? And that's where I even started noticing my own life. And I try to carry myself this way, where the same guy you meet outside is the one you meet inside. Like, how can I carry this guy forward? Because the best of me started to show up at these events, right? I just started growing and becoming so much more. It was like, okay, now how does this start to branch out to where that real you gets out of there? Because it's weird, just by osmosis, how much you get from a group. You might go to an event, you typically always get your specific problem solved, but you also get some other cup filled up that you weren't expecting. It's Jeff Hoffman, creator of Priceline. I got to hear him speak at one of these one time, and he said, innovation isn't found inside your business. And he uses the example of how McDonald's came up with a drive-through window, they didn't come up with it. One of the executives saw a bank putting one in, and that gave them the idea of, oh, we can actually sell enough burgers now if they don't have to come in the restaurant. And that's his point, is like, go out of your normal space. Right? I'm a creative guy. That's why I like to walk. I don't do much like stagnant thinking in my office. This is my workspace. So when I want to mull something over, I'm in motion. Let me think about it. Let me chew on it, get out in it. And it's the same concept in these events. Get out of that little island you're on and put yourself in a room on purpose with a bunch of other people who did the same thing. Right? And that's what creates that environment of cohesion, collaboration. You start to realize you don't have any competition. Your only competition is you waking up and going each day. That's it. Really, because the least amount of real estate folks belong to these events, and you start to understand why, because the least amount of folks do deals compared to how many people are really in real estate. Like, the majority don't do anything in the industry. Very few do. And you find those kind of people at these style of events if this is that thing that you're into, because it's literally just about that. And it's so fun.
Yeah, and you're right, because like I said, and there's value to each one of these styles. Like, for a long time, I went to real estate meetings, and then I ran real estate meetings, like local clubs, and I still run local clubs. But then I went, what are these guys doing that they all know each other? You go to these conferences, and like, this person talks at this conference and that conference and that conference. I'm like, and they know all these people, and I'm going, okay, wait a minute. There's this level up here. There's this thing. I'm now starting, I'm looking up, trying to go, how do I increase my brand? How do I increase my reach? How do I increase, what my own deal flow? And I started to realize that they do belong to masterminds together. They do belong to these sort of, upper level, accredited investor only masterminds, or, 100 doors or 50 doors or more masterminds. Like, they belong to them. And there was one story I heard where a friend of mine who's very good at this, and I kept going, how come you're so good at this? He's like, well, I used to be in sales. I'm like, yeah, but it's beyond that. Right? He said one of his mentors said to him that they belong to something like 17 masterminds. And I'm like, 17? That's outrageous. And then it dawned on me, well, that's how they all know each other. Right? That's how AJ knows Kathy, who knows Neil, who knows Ken, who knows Robert Kiyosaki. Like, that's how they all know each other, is because they're taking the time not to travel to conferences together, but masterminds together. And now in a mastermind, you're dealing with other people who have built business models as big as yours. And now you guys have this other conversation. And now you're able to lend each other's platforms and send each other deals in a way that doesn't occur on the level of a real estate meeting. And that's what kind of pushed me forward to that next level of, oh, that's what it means to become that next level of professional inside of real estate. Not just the number of doors I own, not the number of flips I've done, and not the number of podcasts I've done, which, by the way, podcasting helps a lot, right, in developing your brand. But these masterminds is that next level of actually just becoming friends with people who are like you. And then you go, now that's a person I want to do deeper business with. Not just because they're in the same meeting as mine, but the same mastermind. I've talked to them. I've hung out with them. I've gone bowling with them. Whatever the mastermind's doing. And now you guys are of like mind. And now you have a better chance of understanding who your business partner, investment partner is, because you've met each other through these masterminds. And that's a value I did not understand until about 2 years ago.
We all want to do business with people we like, know, and trust. Mm-hmm. And the higher level you get, it's that last one. It's trust, right? Like, here's my thing. If I won't trust you to tell me where to go eat, I don't trust you for anything. Like, your opinion doesn't mean anything to me. If you can't tell me a restaurant I think would be good, then I don't really listen to much else. It's kind of my ground game of like how I'm going to jive with this person. It's not across the board, but it's something I think about. Like, I forgot where I was going with that. There was a point.
Well, the last level is trust. As you get deeper and deeper
trust,
into business,
right?
Trust becomes more and more important. Not just like
exactly,
but trust. Go ahead.
And trust takes a massive amount of time, most of the time, unless you buy it. And that's how you get into a mastermind. You are paying to get into a group where everybody else got vetted like you did. You know that it's not about the show. It's not about any of that. Like our events, there's a couple speakers that come, but it is way more people talking to each other. Like the first thing you're getting into is a round table where there's literally a note on top of each table that talks about, this is what we're talking about at this table. So you can walk in and know, okay, I need to solve this. Everybody here at this table is talking about digital marketing. Perfect. That's my problem. Let me sit down in here and discuss this with these people. And then we do a thing called a hot seat where you're going to get up in your perspective room. And now you're going to talk about what's going on with you. We call it a give and a take. What's going great? Now, what do you need from us? And the mic goes around the room. Hey, Micah, that basic thing, let's connect after this. I had this, this, and this go. We can do that. Someone else, hey, we can do this, 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 and that. And all of a sudden, you're just, my mentor says this, if your solution to your problem is in your phone, most of your problem is solved, right? You don't really have that much of a problem. If you just got to make a call to solve it, make the call, put those people in your phone. And that's, again, why you go to these masterminds. When you're going through your own business and you've got a friend who, you know, they're doing 30 more deals a year than you, but you're on the way up and you got a question. Hey, man, this is something I'm running into. What'd you run into here? Oh, shoot. That happened to me at the same exact time. This is the tool I adjusted. You may need to look at this over here. Perfect. You know how much time and money you just saved? It's insane how it works. You literally, I call it the process is the shortcut. It is the way to get anywhere. If you want velocity in it, that's how you do it, right? We all got to be here till the end of our lives. That's why I'm not in a rush. But if you're looking to do things, quote unquote, quicker, put yourself in a room with people that are in motion. One, you can't help but go in motion, right? That is a room for action takers. So if you like action, you will always walk away with the next step. What do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? And that's when they thrive, because you got people coming together, learning, building together, going back, living it out in real time, coming back next quarter. What'd you learn? What'd you see? What'd you see? And if you invest nationwide, now you got a pulse on the whole nation. That's what these are for. You know, ground level stuff. And then that doesn't even get into when the business partnerships start to exist. How many of our folks, especially at the highest levels, they have a service industry idea. Awesome. Now you're doing it together. And there's someone, again, in this group that you're rising with. And that's why I get excited about it. It's unlimited growth if you want it. You just got to participate. Show up there as you. I always say, if you're the coolest person you know, one, stop that, but get in a room like this. Like it's for you. You need to meet people that are doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's very funny, but it resonates for me, because it's kind of like, if I'm the coolest person I know, which I don't mean to be conceited about it, like having, running a couple clubs and being the way shower for other people who are local, it's like, okay, I'm kind of the coolest person I know right now. But at the same time, like that was my ceiling, where I'm like, well, there's got to be more. There's got to be some, I love contributing. I sincerely and absolutely love contributing to my community. I love being a leader in my community. I love teaching my classes and my students. I love mentoring and consulting with my clients. Like, I love that process. I love the growth of seeing human beings in front of me find their freedom, their transformation, their abundance. I adore it. And if I'm the coolest person I know in my community, it was like, well, but there's got to be another platform for me.
Right.
For me, not to be selfish, but to just for me, for my own growth, for my own space, for my own expansion of business, for my own vision. I need somebody in front of me saying, hey, here's what it is. Here's how here's how you go from, 50 doors to 500 doors. Right. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Let's do that.
Right. Right.
It's to add momentum to my own investment in life. And so, that's where I found that mentorship, that these clubs full of people who were on par with you, who had their own investments and were mentors in their own right. That's where you go, okay, that's the accelerator.
Right. And it doesn't suck the life out of you. Right. And not that the other things are. One of the coaches I work with, he calls it receivership. And it's one of my favorite terms, because he says you can't, all high level folks, and he works with some extremely high level people, some very well known ones too. You can't always just be burning your energy. That's not what champions do. He's worked with some athletes that the whole world would know. And what he says is the greatest word in a champion's vocabulary is restraint. you have to put yourself in a position to receive. You can't always be giving. And that's why he calls it receivership. He's big on, you need some private time. You need a place where it's not you having to put out. And that's where these places are, because all of the members, you have to go home and put out. You're a producer. It's already what you are. You're living and thriving in your business and life. But at the same time, when you lose that person to go up to that can empathize with you and be like, man, that's hard. That's tough. And when they say that, you actually know they know it because they've been through it too. Man, your chest just kind of lightens and you've shift into receivership. You're now able to receive from them in a way that if you didn't put yourself in that situation, you can't, simply because it's not available to you. It's not around. Right. And that's where the big difference between those free groups that you're in, if you struggle, I'm in a free one, I don't want to join this other one. There's a lot you can get out of free groups. I do not trash them at all. However, there's a reason you don't see all these high level people in free groups for the most part. One, a little bit of the riffraff you deal with. And two, as you grow, you start to niche down and you start to find your crew. It's about quality over quantity way more at that point, because you're out of bandwidth, right? You're running your business. You have your family, like your life is going. So those extra moments you have to spend with people, they change. You start to be more intentional about them. And it's a growth pattern. All of us, that's where I was like, it's what the pros do. It's just what they do. Okay. Makes sense. We've been doing this a long time. I don't need to reinvent a wheel.
Yeah, you got to get more consolidated with your time, because it becomes a point where the money isn't being able to apply your time to something meaningful is meaningful and satisfying, but it's also, I only have so much time, and therefore I want to either give as much or get as much with my time as I can. If I can give as much, that's fantastic. And then if I can get a high level of return, that's fantastic, because I want to save my time for my family. I want to save my time for my daughter's play. I want to save time for being able to go visit my sister. I want to save time for the things that I created the wealth for, which is the enjoyment of living. I want to save my time for that as much. So time becomes your most valuable tool, not money, and not even necessarily reach, but time. Okay, I'm going to completely, we only have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to completely change the question. Okay, Micah, you're not even prepared for this. Are you ready? What are you developing for yourself? It's 2026. What are you developing for yourself moving forward inside your either professional life or personal life? Right? You talked on your show about the internal and external, because I relate to that a lot. So what are you developing internally, either for yourself or externally in your portfolio?
I'm very much on the internal path right now.
That's great.
So, and I just turned 40 in December 23rd. So
you're a pup, Micah. You're
I know
younger than
it's
I
a
am,
pup.
babe.
It's not an old thing. However, it's very much, I pay attention to transitions. And I was reading a lot about the 30 to 41, especially for men. And Carl Jung's quote hit me, right? Until you're 40, everything's just research. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And however, I went through a very odd time in my 30s. So this might be a longer answer you're ready for.
It's okay. I'll make time for it. I want to hear it.
Let me go way back. So I was born to a couple of parents who joined a Y2K doomsday cult. So if you're not sure what that is, it was a bunch of folks. This was in 1988 when they joined it. So 12 years before the year 2000, people literally thought the world was going to end in the year 2000. So that's what I was raised in. At about when I was 15, all that stuff didn't work out, obviously. And when you're in one of these and it doesn't, everything does end. The world does end. It just does not look like what they were telling you it looked like. And that left me in a place where I was just kind of on my own for the most part. I definitely didn't trust my parents anymore. Like, I was just like, what in the world? And I went through this period where it was just like, okay, dude, you're going to go and figure this out. Well, when I hit my 30s and real estate really started picking up, I hired my first performance coach. And in working with him, he started to help me unravel, like, dude, you got a lot of stuff in there that you got to solve, man. Like, you absorbed a very interesting environment and you don't even know what you don't know at this point about why you do what you do when you do it. And that is the question I was obsessed with in my 30s. Why am I the way I am in all the ways I am? I had to go figure it out. And that's what I spent that time doing. In the closure of my 30s to my 40s, I found what I was looking for, which was that just peace. I found peace inside where I feel stable. I don't feel tossed by life's waves. Like I just feel in a good, calm spot. And that is my big focus going forward, especially in 2026 is, all right, man, you went through a lot for a long time. You took the amount of time you needed to create that foundation so that things won't fall apart on you again. And moving into life now where, all right, grow from here, be intentional about it. Don't just believe things to believe things. Don't just assume, like, be aware of what's going on because you know what happens if you don't. And that's like the day you come to grips with the fact that you believed with all your heart things that were completely not true, that is a startling moment. Like you lose trust for yourself for a long time. And that's really what that was about, was rebuilding self-trust to, okay, I got me. I'll show up for me when I need me the most. I can trust in me now. And here we go. And that's really been the shift here the last few months, is creating that stability. When that deal, and the deal you asked about at the beginning, that was just last year. That wasn't that long ago when that happened, but it was all during this kind of cascade effect of life. Like, okay, here's where you are. What do you want to focus on? Where are you going? So I kind of did a reset. This year is all about stability, created a 5-year plan for the amount of land I want to own at that period of time. And now just the daily tasks of reset, right? Move into life from a place now where my mentor calls it role-based living. And I've really embraced it, where when I'm on a podcast, I'm on a podcast. I'm right here. When I'm with my kids, I'm dad. I'm right there. When I'm husband, I'm husband. But really making sure whatever I'm doing right then, be there for it. Don't have multiple roles at one time. That's what drives you crazy. And that's my big focus, really, is just being there for each little moment. Because the question that drives me is, what do I want to say I did? When all I can do is tell a story later. What do you want to say you did? And that's what led me to, oh my God, a good life is made by living the individual days well. It's not some grand accomplishment. It's these good days added up over a long time. And I'm a big journaler. So that's from here to here. That's a couple years. And I have about 7 more inside because I write and read it each day. And I have almost 4 years every day written down. But that's what it started to show me. Like I said, it was a long process through my 30s of just documenting and learning. But yeah, I want to enjoy today, even if it's hard, even whatever. How do I position myself to enjoy it? And then do it again tomorrow. Do it today. Promise yourself to do it again tomorrow, and you'll do all right.
It's amazing when you can get to the end of the day and you can go, I'm satisfied with the life I lived. I don't have to be joyful or upset or angry or what. There's this space of like, yeah, there was some anger in my day, and there was some joy in my day, and there was a hard problem in my day, and there was good solutions in my day. And at the end of the day, I'm satisfied with who I was in situation after situation after situation. I'm satisfied with me. And there's a peace that you can go to sleep with at night, especially if you do the reflection, you do the journaling, and you're like, I am satisfied with these things. Cool. Right? Like there's this quiet inner joy and self-trust that shows up. My opinion is self-confidence does not come from mastery in a subject. And I know they kind of teach that in school. You'll feel confident if you're good at math. You'll feel confident if you're good at history. You get a job in an area where you're confident, and that'll continue to create your confidence. And I'm like, actually, no. That's not my experience of confidence. My experience of confidence is being the human being I'm proud of to be, day after day after day. Then I'm confident about myself. Then I get the joy of just saying, yeah, I'm okay. I'm goods. Thanks. Peaceful. Love it.
Right.
And then your foundation doesn't move, and you can build your life on top of that. That's my experience. And for anybody who's not done what Micah has done, and I have done, I did it. I didn't do it last year. I did, 10 or 15 years ago. There is, I remember I dated this guy for a little while, and he kept going, why are you looking for yourself? You're a great human being, Christina. Why are you spending all this time looking for yourself? And then I got this phone call like 10 years later, and he's like, I'm looking for myself. I now understand what you were doing. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it's
Right.
amazing to take the time to like go, this is the human being this being wants to be, right? And that, so if you haven't given yourself the gift of that, it is a gift. There's a whole categorical quality of living that has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with, success in the external world in any way, shape, or form. All right. Micah, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it immensely. As you guys know, Investor Fuel, that is Micah's deep involved in that community. And obviously, we've talked about all the reasons why belonging to a mastermind community is incredibly helpful, and the authenticity of Investor Fuel and the value of that. So, and Micah, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, get a hold of Investor Fuel, how do they do that? What do they need to know?
Follow me on Facebook. That's the best way. And I have a specific link for me where you can book a call directly with me to talk about it. And then check out our website, investorfuel.com. But use my link if you want to talk to me. If you book through the website, you could get somebody else.
Okay, so Micah Johnson. So that if they're following you on Facebook, they're looking specifically for you. MICAH.
Johnson.
Important. MICAH Johnson. I had to look it up a couple of times, so that's why I'm spelling it for people. Micah Johnson on Facebook. All right, thank you guys. This is Christina Suter with Real Estate Breakthrough. Tune in next week for the next show and update. And keep yourself authentic. Be successful in investing, but most importantly, be confident in yourself because you're doing who you are, the best of you. Real Estate Breakthrough.